In the meantime, in between time, check us out on another platform because we got sports here, sports there, and all that whatnot. But on Wednesday, we just break it down a little bit and we talk about mental health. And we ask everyone to let's check in with the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast.
Feel free to join us. For more information, just check out our Wellness Check Wednesday page on Facebook. Click the link, and of course, let's check in.
Check in. See you on Wednesday.
Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B Live, the Money Man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative Eddy Kool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. We talking sports.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? This B-Boy, the Almighty B Live, 1/3 of the Sports Bros Podcast. And coming to you here from the Share Studios, and I might be doing this solo dolo just because of our scheduling conflicts and whatnot, but we promise you that we're going to do this each and every week, well, except for like major holidays, like Memorial Day next week and everything. We're going to take that hiatus, but we had to bring you something this week because not having the Sports Bros for 2 weeks, that's not something that just sits well in my spirit. And especially with all the sports that's going on right now. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Because, we had a lot of things going on. We had not one, but 2 Game 7s. One in the Eastern Conference semifinals, one in the Western Conference semifinals. And, man, this past Sunday was, I was glued to the television. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But I want to talk about the PGA Championship in Louisville, Kentucky, and all of the fireworks that came around that. Unbelievable action. If you missed it, I don't even know what to tell you because it was a fight between Xander Schauffele. Oh my goodness, what an amazing, let me put it to you this way. Had a pairing of Schauffele and Colin Morikawa. It was neck and neck, not really, because Morikawa could not buy a birdie until the 18th hole. But Bryson DeChambeau, Live Golf's very own, into the bane of existence. Scottie calls a big goof. And every time Scottie D called a big goof, he would get another birdie, and another birdie. And Scottie wanted him to 3-putt for a triple bogey. All this is, it was a lot of banter between me and him throughout Sunday in the last round of golf. Oh my goodness. I am forgetting one name, and I usually have the stuff pulled up and having it on the ready. But man, time is of the essence when it comes to PGA Championship. For those that don't know, also with Scottie Scheffler getting arrested because there was an accident, or I believe it was on a bridge, and he was trying to get around it because he had to get to the golf course, and the officer was trying to detain him, and he took the police officer for a little bit of a ride, which you're not allowed to do. Oh man. Yes, the name now brings back to me, but there's 3-headed horse when it came to the PGA Championship between Xander Schauffele, Bryson DeChambeau, and Victor Hovland. Man, it was back and forth. And Xander Schauffele kept just enough of a lead. If I'm not mistaken, I think he went wire to wire 72 holes. He led after the first round. I think he might have went wire to wire. And so Xander Schauffele, first ever major PGA Championship 2024 winner, and Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky. Man, oh man. Like I said, you had to have seen it. Just go back, find some highlights or something. It was a nail biter for all 18 of the last 72 holes of the PGA Championship. Oh, man. Now let's talk about these NBA playoffs real quick. Indiana versus New York in New York, Madison Square Garden, one of the grandest arenas, big stage. The Knicks fans showed up in force. Indiana began this series complaining about the big market cities and not getting the calls. And every game had been won at home so far in this series in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Boston is waiting for the winner of this, and they sitting comfortably after a 4-1 victory over who did they beat? I was the Cleveland Cavaliers. We pretty much knew that was going to happen. We got a Cavaliers valued effort, but Boston's been Boston all season, and but yes, this Indiana New York series, and is always going to be talked about injuries, 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 and OG Anunoby, I think he only played 5 minutes. Jalen Brunson, that he just put this team on his back, injured. I think he broke his wrist, injured his wrist, and he was out of the game after the second quarter. It just injuries, just some things you just can't overcome. The best ability is availability. And Indiana, just through attrition, is now in the Eastern Conference Finals against Boston. Forget the narrative about how Milwaukee was injured, now New York was injured. I mean, at the end of the day, this is why you play the game. Injuries are part of the sport. Can't discount what Indiana has done, and Tyrese Halliburton played the game and they're moving on. Now, am I going to predict them to do anything against Boston? It's going to be tough. Nope, not at all. I think it's going to be Boston in 5. I think Boston's just a superior team, and they've been heads above the rest. It hasn't even really been close. Milwaukee was supposed to be the team that was going to challenge them a little bit, but again, injuries part of the game, and they are nowhere to be found. So Boston, I picked them in 5. Now on the other side of the conference, other side of the league, the Western Conference, Game 7. Man, I think we've been waiting on this one. God, the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the reigning defending national champions, world champions, as you will say, the Denver Nuggets. And whew, I thought it was a foregone conclusion when Denver went up by 20 points and at the beginning of the third quarter, it was over. No way at home will Denver give up a 20-point lead. Until they did. Role play, role play, role play. Everybody picked up slack on both sides of the ball. Minnesota's defensive intensity was on an 11 scale. They were ball hogs. They was like, nope, we are going to get back in this game. We're going to show the world who we are, and we're going to handle business. And so they did. Man, oh man, hats off. And everybody wants to talk about Anthony Edwards and how much his impact has been monumental, and it absolutely has been. I'm not going to discount that whatsoever. But man, it was a collection of that team coming together, pulling their bootstraps, tightening them up, and doing what they know how to do. And so now, woo, I'm waiting on this one right here. Minnesota and Anthony Edwards versus Dallas Mavericks and Kyrie Irving. It is literally just I can't wait for this matchup. You know it's gonna be so intense. It's gonna like the talk alone, I can't wait for it. I think Minnesota's just too big. I just think at the end of the day, Luka can do some crazy magical things, but what happened to Denver game 7? I think the same thing's going to happen throughout the series with Dallas. Like it was Jamal Murray and the Joker. That was it. They were the only two players that scored above 10 points. Michael Porter Jr., nowhere to be found. Just could not find his shot. 7 points. Nobody scored in double digits besides those two. And Jamal Murray had 29 of his points in the first half. He got cold. So the Joker was the only one that showed up in the second half, and that was the reason why their 20-point lead got lost. I think at the end of the day, the Dallas Mavericks just might be just a little bit too top heavy. Minnesota's playing a team game. And I think Minnesota in, you know what? Minnesota in 7. I think it's gonna be tight. I think it's gonna be a lot of back and forth with them. Minnesota versus Boston in the finals. I know we had a episode a while ago where we predicted who. I guarantee right now, I think I may have picked Boston. I'm not sure, but ain't no way I picked Minnesota. We have to go back to it. We have to go back to it. NBA is just unpredictable. I'm gonna tell you something else. I ain't gonna lie to you. I may have stopped watching hockey after my Hurricanes lost. I think it's the Rangers versus the Panthers. And then I think on the other side, I know that um what is that team? They went to 7. Vancouver lost. Edmonton. Lord Jesus. I see how prepared I am. That's why I need my bros, but again, schedule conflicts is what it is. Did I say that I needed my bros? A collective unit. Can't just say that I need Scottie D because I don't really need him. He gets on my nerves. I can't stand him. But yeah, I guess I do need the other guy. But I'm doing what I do because I'm not gonna go this week without it. With that being said, oh yeah, we talked about the PGA Championship. We talked about NBA, sprinkling a little NHL. Yeah, I'm good. We're gonna come back shortly. I think we might talk about the choice of the voices. I may throw in some pepper. I don't know. This be your boy, the Almighty Be Live, 1/3 of the Sports Bros podcast. Coming back to you soon with more of the Sports Bros podcast. All right. Well, we are back. Well, I say we, I mean me, because it's just me this week. Like I said, I'm not going to let the people down. You want Sports Bros podcast, you get Sports Bros podcast. You won't be here next week, Memorial Day and all those things, but you know what I'm saying, we're gonna come back after that. Month of June, Gemini season, let's get it. And when it comes to sports, but I'm just going ahead and jump into this pepper real quick because buddy. All right. My first pepper point. Let's talk about some local high school baseball. Well, hate to say this on the summer tone and everything, but quick shout out to James Allen who beat my alma mater, Northmore Beach Chiefs, once a chief, always a chief, in the best of 3 series to win the lower state championship in 4A. Congratulations, James Allen. Northmore Beach, one hell of a year. Couldn't be more prouder, and keep doing what it do. And Northmore, man. With that being said, we're going to take it to 5A, which Northmore Beach should be 5A next year. Staying in the lower state here, where we had Ashley Ridge versus Somerville in the lower state finals. See what happened. There was a little change in the schedule. I believe there was some weather involved and everything like that. But there is a rule that's in place that in back-to-back games, like if you play on Wednesday, play on Thursday, if a pitcher pitches one pitch, that's all it takes, and they pitch the next day, they are limited to 75% 5 pitches. It's a new rule. It's a new rule I believe they implemented a couple of years ago, but it came into play this year. So when it comes to Somerville pitchers, there Tavermina, he threw 2 pitches on Wednesday, where Somerville lost to Ashley Ridge. The second game was scheduled for Wednesday, but was postponed due to weather, and it was moved to Thursday. This is where the rule comes into play. Tavermina was the starting pitcher in Thursday's game with 7 innings. He threw 83 pitches, a violation of the 7-pitch count rule. The penalty for the violation is a forfeit, whereby on the scoreboard, Somerville came back and won 6-4 after 8 innings. Somerville celebrated running to the field and everything like that. The Ashley Ridge coach was like, wait a minute, let's run them stats again. And ended up Somerville had to forfeit. Such a heartbreaking loss to those kids. And this is where the coaches have to be held accountable, because this is definitely 100% on the coach's hands. Somerville, this is something, I guess, the only thing you could do is learn, grow from it, and reassure you guys that, hey, they fought hard for them. But at this point in time, the rules are rules, and it is what it is. Now, I'm gonna shift from that because some things I don't understand. Is my second pepper point is going to go to the NFL schedule that was just released, and as again, I think it was September. Did I say? Let me see where I sent it to them. Oh, Jesus, I've sent a lot of people messages. September 22nd, Vegas, we're coming to you. Vegas, Las Vegas versus Panthers. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. I need a benefactor, somebody that's got some money, because I don't have it, but it is what it is. We're gonna make it happen. The second pepper point, the NFL schedule. They are begging, pleading, hoping that Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, because the New York Jets are playing a record number of primetime games over the first 3 months. They have 6 night games in the first 11 weeks. You know who doesn't have night games this year? The Panthers. They don't deserve any, but hey, I'm still through and through. Keep pounding. Let's go, man. We got to do better this year. But yes, the New York Jets have 6 night games in the first 11 weeks. And the vice president of broadcast planning, Mike North, he said, yes, it's an awful lot of primetime games early in the season, but obviously, I feel like Jets kind of owe us one. All the hype last year about Aaron Rodgers joining the team, and he was on the field for a whopping 15 seconds. Achilles, gotta give. The NFL is banking on the Jets and Aaron Rodgers being healthy and successful, and all eyes be on the Jets. Which leads to my third and final pepper point. And I can't say this enough. Every now and again, I'll give conspiracy theories just a little. I mean, sometimes it's just obvious. Then sometimes it's just people just create these narratives that just simply don't exist. If I see one more post, and this is my third and final pepper point, if I see one more post from anybody saying that the NFL is catering to Taylor Swift and changing their NFL schedule because of Taylor Swift, because of a quote from Mike North, aforementioned NFL Vice President of Broadcast Planning, I'm just going to take both my hands and maybe cut off air supply for a short period of time. I ain't gonna just slap some people. Let's try this out. There have been a lot of events that have occurred at NFL stadiums outside of just football. Most stadiums may also have an MLS team that shares space there. They've been turned into concert venues for big acts, not just Taylor Swift. Heck, Kevin Hart had an entire stadium. I think Gabriel Iglesias, but I think that was still a baseball stadium. But still, nonetheless, there's been a lot of big acts, a lot of concerts that have happened at NFL stadiums. So when Taylor Swift books NFL stadiums before the NFL schedule comes out, guess what? NFL, she booked it. She paid money for it. That's how these things work. Concerts, they pay money to utilize the stadium. They come to agreement, say they make it part of the ticket sales, whatever, blah, blah. But the NFL isn't catering to Taylor Swift. The NFL is like, well, she booked these dates. So guess what? Those teams can't play at those stadiums during that time. It is simple logistics, people. Stop with this narrative. Yes, I'm the first to not like how much the media caters to Taylor Swift and how much the NFL put the camera and the spotlight on her. But this wasn't it. This wasn't it. It ain't it. Stop it. I would like the NFL I mean, it's a business at the end of the day, but not that far. Come on, dude. Come on, bro. Come on. I need you to do better, people. Not everything is so off the wall. And just for the love of God, stop complaining all the time. Just stop. Just, I'm just, they'll say, oh, you're infringing on my freedom of speech. No, I'm not. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up and quit complaining. You can say what you want to, but just also know that whenever you say something, it's in a public forum. And I also have that same freedom of speech. And I have the freedom to call you an idiot. But hey, freedom of speech, say what you want to. What's that one saying? It's better to be thought of as a fool than to open up your mouth and prove that you're one? Something like that. Y'all know the saying. But that's my third and final pepper point. It's not a big conspiracy. Taylor Swift, do you? Swifties, calm down. It's not that serious. Like, come to find out that it's cheaper to fly overseas and buy a ticket overseas to see Taylor Swift than it is to see her in America. That's the problem. And just a thought for those Swifties out there. Hey, get out of the country. Enjoy her for cheaper. Just a thought. All right. With that being said, to my bros, I miss y'all. We'll reconvene in a couple weeks. But as I said before, the show will go on. And it was a pleasure bringing the Sports Bros podcast to you. Because we're here to educate, entertain, enlighten, and another E that I don't remember, and all the things. And it's supposed to be, I'm just saying, and in closing, do unto yourself with others and who you do with and whatnot. And yeah, Eddy Kool's much better than this. This is another episode of the Sports Bros podcast. This is my part right here. I'll usually just fade off the screen and everything like that. Try to do this and whatnot. And yeah. Yes, sir.
Hey, it's Eddy Kool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.